Morning, everybody.
Morning.
I'm going to apologize ahead of time because some of the men know that I teach on Friday nights I get a little long-winded. And it's almost 11 o'clock now, so I apologize ahead of time. We're going to open in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we praise and we thank you for this morning, Father God. We praise you and we thank you for all your blessings that you have given to each and every one of us, Father God. Father, I ask that my tongue would be as a ready writer this morning, Father God, to be able to speak your word and the things that you have put into my heart. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. First of all, everything I say is for the glory of God. I could never have done that. We could never have done any of this without God's help. I want to thank Brother George and Sister Nancy, Brother Don Engel and Sister Diane. In the beginning, they were our spiritual parents. If I get emotional, I'm sorry. Being in our early 20s, I lost my dad. So I had no fatherly figure to teach me how to live. They stepped in and taught us everything we needed to know, guided us, chewed me out when I did something wrong. It's part of growing up. So I want to thank you for everything that you've done for us. Now, we started a church in May '81 at a church picnic at Caledonia. See, Georgie, when you were talking last week, a lot of this I had to laugh about. We had picnics in the downpours. Brother George taught. I was asked to do all the cooking. All the food was ready. As soon as we started eating, it was not a drizzle, it was a downpour. So what do you do when you have a bunch of food and it's raining? You fill your plate up, you tilt it forward, the water runs off, and you just stand there and eat. You don't think I was going to pass up any of that good food because it was raining. I've done the cooking for almost 30 years. I started out with 2 charcoal grills. We graduated to 3 gas grills, which I thought was the best thing. I had a great plan. In my mind, it did not work out. 3 grills, I started 1 grill, waited a couple minutes, I started the next one and the next one. By the time the first one was done, I had plenty of time to take care of the other ones and reload. Sure enough, anybody that does any grilling knows you have flame ups. Threw the whole pan out the window. Then, Brother George had the barbecue pit. Next best thing to sliced bread. You could throw 60 hamburgers on that baby at one time. Didn't have to worry about it. We decided that if we were going to come to church, we were going to be part of the church. Being part of the church, you had to be involved. I did not volunteer for anything. I was like Pastor John. Hid in the back. Hid in the back for everything until I got called out. Like I said, I was asked to do the picnics. When we moved to Black Avenue, I was asked to run the tape machines. All of our services, the whole time Brother George has started, all of our messages were recorded. That wasn't too big a deal. I could hide in the corner. Then one evening, Brother George was ministering to God in church at Black Avenue, back in the vestibule. I looked at my watch, it was after 7 o'clock. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt, if we waited much longer, somebody was going to get told, somebody should have started. Brother George had this thing of decency and order. He did not believe in having people waiting on anything. So I had this bright idea. I walked back without interrupting, going into my watch, and mentioned to start. He said yes. So I got involved in the praise and worship. Did not like it. As you tell, I get nervous. The reason I get nervous, when I was younger, I had a bad stuttering problem. Of course, being a kid, kids aggravated, made it worse. But God brought me through it. During praise and worship, Sister Diane stepped up long ago when the piano player decided she had enough, was going to leave. Sister Diane had stepped in and played the piano for us for years. Wonderful player. So, at the same time, Jeanette, I don't ever call her that. So I struggle with her first name for years. She's been called Babe, Hunt, Toots, everything else but her great name. Man, Mom. She started teaching Sunday school while we were here in Black Avenue. Brother George wanted to change the praise and worship book. Excuse me. Brother Tim Weaver knew a gentleman that had come up from West Virginia that led praise and worship at that church, Brother George Evans. So one night I'm called into Black Avenue and I show up. Brother George, Brother Tim, and Brother George Evans was there talking about new praise and worship. New sound system. Brother George looked at me and says, "You're running it." Okay. Do nothing. All new ball game for me. God comes through and pulls me out. Set everything up. The gentleman we bought it off of comes in to do a sound check. A couple weeks later or whatever. He looked at me and said, "If you run them before?" I said, "Never touched one. Too many knobs." He said, "Well, you got it set just about perfect." I thought, okay, wasn't me, it's the Spirit. Like I said, knew nothing about it. As the new praise and worship started with Sister Diane, Debbie Best, Tim and Debbie's daughter Becky, Jeanette, Carrie, and Sister Lisa. Now I'm going to put two of these ladies out on the spot. They have two of them in here that have beautiful voices that none of you new people get to hear. But some of us older guys that's been here a long time have heard them, which be Sister Diane and Sister Jeanette. Maybe sometime I can talk my way into doing a special. And I'm getting the glare. So, Brother George comes up, decides to build this building. He wanted everybody in the church to sign a paper of commitment. It didn't need to be a dollar amount, it could be time, whatever. So, raising 5 kids, the only one working, I had plenty of time. God gave me plenty of talents over the years because I was always busy doing something. So I volunteered my time. At the time, Ben was 7 or 8 years old. He told me the other day that he remembers putting the heating system in his floor, all that pipe. I was goofing around with a piece of wire. I remember tying all that piping tight to the wire so it stayed in place. We was involved in every part of this church except the drywall, which I was not allowed to touch. I'll tell you why in a little bit. Our whole family was involved in it. Angie and Aaron, the oldest two, they were in the trusses. To Brother Harold Weaver, seen him up there. He was old school. I mean old school. Nothing wrong with it. Did not like his decision, but I had to live with it. He did not like women doing men work. So the girls had to come out of the trusses. I told him, said, you give them 5 minutes or 10, they would run them trusses just like the men would run. because they helped me build our house, our first house, our barn, everything I built, they helped me with. We built the church, the wall within one day they were standing. The following Saturday, we set all the trusses. We got wet. It rained. It wasn't from sweat. It was rain. It rained all day and we set trusses. So, to look at this church was a pure miracle that it was built as quick as it was. Like Brother George, you said, we hired some people to do some of it that we weren't talented enough for. But there was enough carpenters, people can swing a hammer. If you couldn't do that, you carried materials or picked up. We even had people from other churches that helped. So from the floors, to the walls, to the roof, Ben helped put shingles on while I was doing something else. It was amazing. The people would throw their hands in that. We moved in, we had to move sound system. I had a bright idea. Like I said, I've been around for a while. I had Brother George lay a pipe, 3-inch pipe, from that corner in here so I could run the sound system wiring in. Great idea, did not work. Somewhere along the line, somebody ran over and smashed it shut. Halfway back to the floor. Brother George and Tim and I are here. I think it was a Friday night, and I was trying to run that wire down through that pipe. Got so far, it got tight. Now the cable was that big, with all the wiring on it was probably that big, all the ends. And the pipe that big, plenty of room. No matter how I worked it, it would not go through. Brother Tim bailed on me. I had to unsolder all that ends and solder it back up. Tim says, I don't want to do a part of it. Thought ain't no biggie. God prepared me. Brother George knew this, because he told me, says, you got it. I worked at Letterkenny in the wiring harness section, building wiring harnesses for years. So unwind, soldering something and soldering it up. Wasn't no big deal. We get ready, Kim comes in and says, is it ready? I said, yep. He goes, you tested it? I said, nope. I said, but it's good to go. He just looked at me. What could go wrong? We've got 16 channels. If I messed one or two up, I'll just switch over to something else. You know, I've got plenty of options. Things didn't upset me because we were taught faith so much then. And I still believe today, no matter what I turn my hands to, prospers. People tell me I fly by the seat of my pants. Or I got this uncanny act to figure things out and do things. I thought, call it what you want, it's the Spirit of God. Ben inherited that. Our girls inherited that. So in '95, to get back on track, Sister Jeanette was asked to start the nursery by Pastor John. She accepted, which was great because her average class was 10 to 12 little ones. And the time we had, when they were doing that, we took a break halfway in between. We started at 9, so at 10 we took a little break. I enjoyed it because break time, I went back and had snacks with the kids. Yeah, I had snacks. Which the kids kind of enjoyed me coming back. And after that break, Sister Chrissy took the older ones and taught them what Jeanette taught the babies and handled the babies. She did that for 10 years. Meantime, while she was doing that, she got diagnosed with breast cancer. See, I told you my guidelines wouldn't do no good. She found out I was born and says, you need a floor mat. I thought, all right, both trucks got floor mats. Why do I need another floor mat? So the other week she told me, she says, you need guidelines. I said, okay. Anybody hears me teach on Friday night usually know my guidelines go on the floor because they don't do much good. While she had breast cancer, she still took care of the nursery, which I thought was amazing. Her roughest days, one of our girls would go back and helping Belle out. But when we were told she had breast cancer, it was a total shock. It hit home hard. We leave the doctor's office, first place we go, Brother George and Sister Nancy. She had come through that a couple years earlier, knew where their faith was. And we told a few select other people in the church, which I call, as Emmy calls her family, her people. It's the ones that we knew we could trust and stand with us. They would not gossip, they would not tell anybody, they kept it to themselves. We got to pick and choose who it was. While going through that, got a bad case of depression. And so I almost lost my job at Larry King. They could not figure out why I was taking depression medicine. They found out. They never asked, they just assumed. If you don't ask, I usually won't tell you. I'm like, you ask me something, be prepared because you're probably not going to like it because I'm not diplomatic. I can't paint these fancy pictures with words. You'll get the cold hard truth, which got me in trouble several times. Brother Don Engel bailed me out every single time. He kind of smoothed things out. But he tried that one day with me, painted a pretty picture the way I talk to people. Didn't get it. I thought he was talking about somebody else. I was telling Georgie last week about this. I looked at Don and says, you got something to tell me point blank. I can't separate these pretty words to figure out what you're trying to tell me. I've tried to get better, but I'm me. Dealt with the depression, got over it. It's been 11 years since she's been cancer free, which I think is awesome. We started tithing right off the bat. Still tithe today. I knew tithes when I was growing up because Mom and Dad would every now and then would take us to church. And that's where I learned about tithes. Another thing I learned about God, He will not overrule your will. Whatever your will is what your will is. He can change it through time, but He can't override it. So we started doing tithes. Through the tithes, we were blessed thousands and thousands of times over. One of the blessings is all the girls were little. Now there was 4 of them. Brother George knew this family that had, at the time, everybody called hand-me-downs. It didn't matter to me if it was hand-me-down or not. If it saved me money that I didn't really have to buy clothes, we're in for it. It started out with 1 bag. While later it was 2. It got to the point of 4, and I told the girls, and I told my wife, you take something out of the bag, you put something back in the bag. We're not hoarding clothes. I know you're female. You do not need clothes that you do not wear. Somebody else could use it. It got to the point that clothes we were getting that were hand-me-downs had price tags on them. High-end clothing and high-end shoes. That we still, today, if we have the money, we still wouldn't spend that kind of money on clothing at the price of them tags were back in the 80s. Great blessing. Told Jeanette, I says, got to do something. She goes, well, I said, I'm tired of bringing back of clothes home. I'm tired of calling back of clothes to so-and-so and they pass and wherever. Call your blessings in another area other than clothing. Enough clothing is enough. So then, another blessing of God, we bought almost 14 acres of bare ground. All it was a hayfield. In a week's time, we had cleared for the house. We had a house trailer sitting where Brother Ron's house is at now. It moved up to this property. Used it for collateral because it was paid for. We had a pad fixed for it, driveway in, the electric in, and the well was in 1 week. Now, all the neighbors around that area, their wells averaged 600 feet. I thought, cool. Not ours. Had one of them water twitchers come out. Actually, it was a guy that drilled the well. We're walking around. He's up on top of the highest part of this property on a hill. He says he found water. I said, okay. He said, there's 2 streams here crisscross. I thought, yep, right. But you're the professional. He come in and drilled the well, 175 feet. Water pressure. He said, as soon as you hit water, you come out of 8-inch well casing, crystal clear. He said, he's not done that, and he don't know how. 55 gallons of mass what he estimated it was. Like I said, neighbors who were at 600 feet, they were lucky if they had 15 pounds of water pressure, or gallons per minute. Great blessing. Some of the guys know about some of this. We've had appliances last over 35 years. Recently, a couple years ago, I retired a freezer I had in the basement that I know was over 40 years old. Why did I retire it? I live off deer meat. That's where my deer meat went. Was not taking a chance another year full of deer meat, taking a chance it going to waste. This one goes hungry. Ain't happening. So Angie was at daycare and they needed a freezer. So Angie, you guys can have this one, but don't put anything in it that was going to stay in there for any amount of time. I said, you could store stuff from week to week in it, or whatever. I said, because it's old. Don't know how long it's going to last. As far as I know, it's still hanging in there. It's probably getting close to 45, 46 years old. Normally, don't happen. Our well pump was supposed to last 5 years. Right before we sold, I had to put a new one in it. Knew the guy, come out and do this. How old is that? I says, we've been here 18 years. Never changed it. He says, impossible. I said, whatever. He pulls it out and he had the date on it when it was put in. The pump is 18 years old. He says, never happens. He said, well pumps don't last that long. He was right. He put a new one in. Less than a month later, he was putting another new one in. Our new one went bad. Didn't cost me anything but the hassle. So that we've been blessed in all kinds of things. God gives you the hearts you desire. Wanted horses? Didn't want any kind of, just any horse. I wanted special ones. Appaloosas, and they had to be out of national champion stock. Happened to get a couple. I was giving them stallion out of the son out of the world and national champion. One of the best riding horses I ever had. Good temperament, the whole 9 yards. Had horses for a long time. Wanted street rods. Got 2 of them because of God. And fixed them up myself with God's help. One knows that everybody knows my truck's got suicide doors. One of them didn't know how to do it. God showed me how. Every time I had a problem doing something, at night when I got myself calmed down, God would tell me how to do something, how to fix the problem. I could spend days at it, being hard-headed, not going to Him first. It saved me piles of time and times of aggravation. Now we're going to jump into healings that we've seen in the church. We've seen backs being healed. Brother Don's back was healed a couple of times. I don't know how many times God's healed my back. He'd heal it. Sure enough, if I do something, mess it up. Sister Diane told me a long time ago, she goes, your mind tells you you can do something. She goes, you make your body do it. I said, guilty, 100%. I was all the time, I wouldn't say all the time, but I would do things that hurt my back, God healed. Until the last time. He had to heal it through surgery. Why? I got offended over something somebody had said that I held very dearly, very highly. All but ripped everything out of me. I dealt with it by myself. We'll get later on in it, but it cost me. It cost me having to go through pain for several months because my faith wasn't strong enough. Because I allowed myself to be offended, give up on almost everything. But He healed me through surgery. We've seen blind eyes being opened, people healed of breast cancer, people with severe allergies being completely and totally healed. People who have had strokes, brain tumors, have been healed completely of all side effects. Now, you guys can take this however you want, but this one I truly believe happened in this church. And this is where I'm going to cry. Raising of the dead. Brian Wells was in this last time we got to talking. But the time before he was in, some of you might remember he was teaching. Emmy, being as bold as she is, she stands up and yells, "Don't know what's wrong? Somebody needs to pray." And now, should that come under attack? Is it possible to come under attack of the devil in church? Exactly. It's possible. I've seen her black out. Everybody come around was praying, and I can almost tell you exactly who was there. And some of them didn't make it, but I knew it was praying. Thought behind the side of the whole church. I knew our people were praying, the ones that we had grown up with. I seen her turn from white to gray, the darkest gray, almost to black. I told her afterwards, I've seen what we mean, dead people. You're not as dark gray as what you are. That had to go through severe diseases that carried your colors, different shades. I was ministering to her with my eyes open. I seen Brother Bob. The EMT was up checking her pulse. His hand went from her wrist to her neck. And I knew instantly what was going on. The devil was over here barking. He said, "You're going to lose her." He goes, "I'm taking her." I just flat told him as loud as he told me, and I could hear it in my spirit, No, you're not. Not in this house. I was talking about both houses. My family house and this house was not possible. Genesis, everything she could remember is Bob telling her to breathe. To breathe. Brian told me this last time in, said that she had no pulse for 5 minutes. I didn't know that till he told me this time. He was asking how she was, and we got to talking about the situation. We take her out, put her in the truck. I go to pick her up with sore back. Pastor Dane was there, he goes, I'll get it. I thought, I can do it. Spirit says, no, you can't. Let him do it. I could have done it if he wouldn't have said nothing and not been hurt over it. If I'd have pushed the issue, I'd have hurt my back again. Chambersburg Hospital, they run all kinds of tests. Could not find nothing wrong anywhere. Been perfectly fine, healthy ever since. So you can believe if that's what you want. I believe she was raised from the dead from the situations. Would not have been taught the word. She probably would still be dead if I left Satan kept barking in my ear the way he wanted to. But after 37 years of hearing the word, for 37 days or hours, you need to put your faith in what God tells you. No matter what the circumstances says. Like Brother Archie says, hang in there like a hair in a biscuit. Is it easy? No. Is it possible? Yes. Is it profitable? Most definitely. Do things God can't do, and I've told you the one He can't avoid your will. God cannot lie. Whatever His Word tells you is 100% true. It's fact. You can take it to the bank, however else you want to put it. You can count on what His Word tells you. But it takes patience. You got to give your faith time enough to grow to get you to that point. If you're not to that point, you got some in here that's been through it all, or most of them. If they haven't been through it, they probably know somebody in here who has been. You need help, talk to somebody. Don't be that prideful that you think, well, I can't talk to them, they'll know what's going on. To me, that's very uneducated. In other words, to me, it's stupid. Why go through things you don't have to because of your pride? Excuse me. When there's somebody here that can help you. That's what we're here for. We prayed for a girl a long time ago. Sister Diane brought it up for prayer. I mean, years ago. And I still think about it. She was a runaway. She ran away at very early teenage years. Was gone for years and years. Her mom wanted her to come back, at least a phone call. So we prayed about it. Not getting into timelines because I can't remember timelines. It was a while later, this young lady calls home to her mother and wants to know if she can come home. She's been wanting to come home for years, never had enough nerve to call because she was embarrassed because she went away. God's great work. Now, Pastor John's going to Bogota with Jane and Darlene. We've been there 3 or 4 times. First trip, great, awesome. We get to do all kinds of cool things. Get to see God do all kinds of great things. People being saved, healed, delivered. Churches being filled with people. Because you've heard people others say, the gringos are in town. We gotta go see what they're about. still growing. They're growing enough that a couple of us had to rebuild. Excuse me. First trip was with Jack Hicks and his wife. We had a day off. We were going for an old-fashioned train ride, old-fashioned to us, but the only train they had, coal-fired. Going through the train station, I see this pipe sticking out this far. I think it at one time was a water line or an air line or something, heavy metal. As soon as I say, watch out, Jeanette walks smack into it. Dead center in the forehead. That knocks her out. We were talking about this last night. Two older ladies come up to her. This one lady had some kind of an oil or ointment or whatever, rubbed it on her forehead, told her the swelling would go down, and she would not have a mark. We both could have swore they got on the train with us. Didn't never seen them before. The whole time we're down there, never seen them after that. We believe it was angels. Got on the train, no headache, no lump, no black and blue mark. We just stand there. No, it was an instant. It took a little bit of time. But by the time we were done on the train, there was no side effects. Great. Got to do some teaching down there. Jack Hicks walks up to me and says, we're in John Romick's Rhema Bible Church. I'm supposed to speak. He comes up to me and says, you can't do no teaching. Pastor John does not allow it. You can give your testimony. I thought, all right, praise and worship is going on. 10,000 things going through my brain. Poor soul. He was my translator. And I stand up there, Bible here, notes here, guidelines. I start. Speak on decency and order. Out of the clear blue, had no idea why. Was telling everybody that they had their own ministry at home. As soon as they stepped on the church property, their private ministry stopped. Under decency and order, commanded the elders of the church and the pastor. And I rambled on about different things. How everybody had their own order. Not picking on anybody in here. But I told him, says, the usher can do some things, but there's other things you can't. Our ushers can't do praise and worship. Why? It's the order of things. The door greeter can only do so much. The praise and worship leaders can only do so much. The elders in here can do as much as what the pastor allows us. Door greeters can't pray for people, or they shouldn't pray for people. They should go to the prayer ministries or whoever is set in that position. Why? You overstep in your bounds. Overstep bounds, no decency, you know. And this went on for the whole service. I seen Brother Pastor Soul sitting there looking at my notes. He's looking at me, looking at my notes. And I thought, can't help it. It's just what it is. So, next topic, my final one. I told Pastor Jordan, the Lord's been putting this in my mind for a couple months. Offense. Being offended. You heard me say that I was offended where it ruined, all but ruined my faith. It made me suffer back pain for 7 months. The only way I got out of that was Pastor Jordan called. Jay shows up, he had the youth group. This big pink poster board. He had the good still, youth group. Had their name sign on and all kinds of things. Got to me. Jeanette and I laid it under our TV cabinet. I could see it. Kind of out of the roadside, I wouldn't tramp on it, but I could still see it. Got to reading Brian Wells' book, 10 Hours of Love. Great faith book. Ain't got it? Get it. Read it. It's great. Pull you out of any situation you're in. We've heard Brother George and Sisters Nancy about when they walked into church, everything was gone. Perfect time to be offended. Throw hands in the air, walk away, quit, mumble a bunch of words, tell a bunch of people. But they chose not to be offended. See what it prospered people. It's prospered people for 40 years. Like I said, I've been offended, dealt with it. Sometimes I even had enough nerve to go to the person who offended me. Totally, completely forgot the word. Unintentional. It was just the words that come out. They spoke a word at the wrong time and somebody when I wasn't where I should have been. So if you get offended, there's 3 ways to deal with it. There's only one way, right? I'll get to it last. You can let it eat at you, fester. That's like a splinter does. Doesn't do any better till you get it out of there. Try to overcome it by yourself, which some of it you can, because mostly when you're offended, it's not the person who did it, it's the one that's being offended, like me. Or, the most favorite way everybody likes to do it, from what I've taken notice, they got a bad case of running the mouths. Don't tell this person what happened. And what happens? That other person picks up their offense. And they sometimes only deals with, they only pick up one extra person. Sometimes they pick up a bunch of extra people that wants to jump on the boat. Strange thing is, the sad thing, the person that was originally offended usually overcomes it and stays in church. People that jumped on the boat with them, never see them again. I've seen it happen, sadly to say, hundreds of times. I told you that. We ever got offended, we kept it to ourselves. Don't run at the mouth. Wanted to leave church a couple times? Yes. Did we? No. The simple fact is, I didn't want to be responsible to who I took with us. Like Pastor Jordan said earlier, in the early days, being a teen, he looked up to us. Me being offended, my family being offended, walking out, does not hurt just my family, it hurts who I take with me. Somewhere along the line, I'm going to be accountable to people I would have taken with me. I've been responsible for their spiritual health, the whole 9 yards. You're not strong enough to deal with somebody else's problem. I didn't want that responsibility on me, so we stuck it out. Fortunately enough, through all that, all our children stayed in church. They knew something was going on, it wasn't quite sure it was. Some of them picked it up, and it took quite an effort to get them over it. But they are still here. I can say every one of our 5 children still serve the Lord, still being used by the Lord. We have 11 grandkids, if I counted right, unless somebody snuck one in on me. All of them know the Lord that are of age, except for like Ellie. She's not quite old enough yet. But she has been dedicated to the Lord, so I know it's only a matter of time when she decides to accept Jesus and follow him. Awesome to be able to sit and watch all that. Now I'm going to pick on Brother George. Bertie, you still awake, because I told you I was going to ask you. Brother George, you made a comment last week about how the Gelsingers populate the church. Afterwards, he wanted to know if we were funded. I said, no, we sat there and laughed the whole time, because it is true. 100% true. Not only with our personal family, but I know at least 3 other couples in this church. The Sellers was one of them. I asked her if I could use her name, and she said yes. They wanted a family. For some reason, they could not conceive. So, they go to Brother George. One prayer. Brother George, in his wisdom, calls up my wife, has her pray for him. After that, we see summer. Then after that was winter. There's other families in here that's been done. Brother George made this statement, and I chuckled. I thought it was hilarious, but sense of humor. He told everybody back in them days that Jeanette was one of the most fertile women he's ever seen. So true. We talk about a baby. We had a baby. Till we got to bed. I sit down and I figured up how old I'd be. When Ben hit 20, I told her, says, that's it. I hit 50, I am not raising any more kids. Time for this one to enjoy kids. So every child that comes in here, baby, I got M's mothering in me. I got to pick up babies. I've been told a couple of times by some of you that they were holding somebody else's child. You can't have this one. You already had one. Quit hoarding them. Can't help it. Raising ours, Jeanette got on me a couple of times. You didn't spend that much time with ours. I said, yeah, you're right. Reason why. It's called responsibility. Made sure they had everything they needed, they were taken care of. Tried to spend as much time with them as I could. And I had a bad case of being a workaholic. I worked full-time and a couple part-time jobs while we was raising our children. So now I get to play with everybody else's babies. I mean, that's why I got 11 grandkids and counting and 2 great kids. But every child in this church, ever since the beginning, I consider as being mine. Darren and Tammy's not here, but we'll do it anyway. They were expecting Peyton. Now I had to ask Tammy, when I seen her, if I could touch her baby belly. Baby bellies are great for me. How did I know I could just to feel life inside? She said, yeah, but every time I touched her belly, I had a prayer for Peyton. And I may remember, as clear as day, we were at Redsboro skating rink on the Hallelujah thing, talking to Tammy and Darren. My back was towards the rink and they were facing me. Quickness. I asked Tammy and Darren how my baby's doing. People who were behind them looked at me with a strange look. I thought, I could imagine the thoughts that they were having. Tammy and Darren and I just laughed. We thought it was funny. They probably didn't. But I was not mine. Physically, spiritually, she is mine. Oh, one thing I forgot about offense. There is such thing as a third-party offense. Just like there's a such thing as a third-party sexual harassment thing that I learned in Letterkenny. If you talking to somebody, I'm going to pick somebody, Sister Lori, we're always clowning around with each other, or Denise. I could say something that would not offend those two, but it could offend somebody else because they didn't like what we were talking about. Sorry. Don't know how to deal with third-party offenses because I'm trying to figure out how to do this politely. Don't know how. I can't say that either. I would offend somebody. But you have to be very careful about being offended. That's, like I said, the Lord's dealt with me for that over a long time. Recently, I offended a person. It's totally unintentional. Unfortunately, at the same time, my son Ben offended the same family at the same time. We were goofing around, being us, being goofy, like having a good time. But the people understood us, that we do not say things to be mean. Unfortunately, like I said, we offended him. But the best thing of it is, the husband found out about it, come in and talk to Pastor John. Pastor John come gets me. When I found out about it, my heart sank. You talk about being lower than whale's belly. There's other earthly things out there I could have said, but I was that low, I probably could have stood on the carpet and still had plenty of headroom. Apologize to the people. Try to make it better. Then I had to go tell Ben. Did not want to do that because I knew it would tear him up. But some things I can protect from. I told him, he felt sorry too. Fortunately enough, that family, I so apologize for bringing it forward the way it was supposed to be handled, airing it out with the pastor. Them and having the person involved is the way it's supposed to be. If you're going to run at the mouth, like I said earlier, find Pastor John, find one of the elders in the church, somebody that's not to be a third party. Not everybody is a third party person. Some third party people like to gossip and spread things. Find somebody that's been raised, that can be counted on. Brother John uses this quite regularly. Pillar of the church that knows that when you tell them something, it stays where it is told. Get the offense dealt with the way it's supposed to be dealt with. Bring it out in the air it out, have it handled, and you'll find almost 100% of the times the thing that was said that was offended was not intentionally meant to be done that way. People are not actually that mean that they'll just say things that they know is going to hurt those people. So that is the proper way of handling offense. Bring it to somebody, like I said, a third-party person who could get all parties together and work things out. Offenses is not usually as bad as what people who's been offended thinks they are. You don't want them to fester because it costs you. It costs you your faith. It costs you time to get yourself built back up to where you should have been the whole time. It just costs too much in the spiritual life. You gotta deal with too many things. If your faith is not strong enough, you have to deal with it yourself, and it's almost impossible to handle with the earthly body and the earthly mind. Don't let fences fester. I've seen families tore apart, I've seen friendships tore apart, workplaces go downhill in a heartbeat because somebody was offended about what somebody else said. And usually in that case is, those two people were probably best friends, could say anything to each other until one of them was having a bad moment and the other one was trying to be silly, goofy, whatever you want to call it. The normal self said something that tore friendships apart. Does cause havoc in a workplace. Seen it too many times. That's it. And I was long-winded. It's 5 minutes of 12.